Good day and welcome to Asset TV. Today we are in Johannesburg at the Prescient Investment Management Infrastructure Conference for 2025. My name is Zama Zulu. I'm joined by Conway Williams, who is the Head of Credit at Prescient Investment Management. Conway, nice to see you and welcome.
It's always great to be chatting to you.
Great, thank you. Right, so we've spoken a lot about infrastructure today, and you actually chaired a panel discussion earlier in the conference. Can you just maybe share with us some of the infrastructure projects that Prescient in particular is focused on at the moment?
Sure. So we manage two alternative funds. The first one is our Green Clean Energy Fund. It's currently sized at about 4.5 billion rand. And as the name suggests, it invests in clean and green energy projects. So we've got about 31 projects in our fund, ranging all the way from round one to the latest rounds, and also more private type energy projects. We're very proud because it's got a 10-year track record and we've grown it quite nicely. And then in our pipeline, it continues to be clean and green. We're supporting further rounds, we're supporting principal investments, or what that means is where we can provide equity finance. So transformation, BE and the likes, where potential participants that can't necessarily access capital can now invest into these projects as the actual ecosystem has developed or matured. In our broader infrastructure fund, we'll do anything that has an infrastructure tinge, whether it is social housing, whether it is education, transport, logistics. It has to be hard, tangible infrastructure or social infrastructure where we actually promote and invest in inclusive type activities.
Okay, great. So it's a fairly broad allocation at the moment, which is great.
That is why we launched our second fund, to have that broad nature. So we keep the one very specialized and the other one more of a broad nature, because we have seen that infrastructure is imperative in terms of South Africa's development narrative, and we can't only have the clean green lens on. So that is why we have both.
Okay, fair enough. Now, Prescient is a fairly big proponent of infrastructure investing. I mean, you've been at it for a number of years now. Can you just maybe share with us, what does success look like in this particular asset class? I mean, we heard earlier during the conference that there's definitely been disappointments in terms of the levels of the investments in this particular asset class. For you as Prescient, where would you like to see progress?
So I think it's the simple wins. Like, for example, when we explain what infrastructure is, how it isn't as complex as people fear it to be, and then allocators can actually take a look at our funds or at the broader infrastructure ecosystem and realize that investing in it has significant amount of benefits. So whether it is the uncorrelated nature of the asset class with other asset classes, or whether it is simply the fact that they are planting the seed today for a tree that you can sit under when you retire one day. And the asset class gives you that opportunity to have not only a financial return component, but an actual impact component. So that is a key success for me, if somebody can just realize the benefits of it. And then also just, if we then have our thought pieces out there, or if we interact more broadly and we are able to make a positive contribution from a regulatory perspective. So again, if you want to crowd in the private sector, you have to have regulatory certainty. You actually have to have a base that investors can work from and have confidence that that base won't just change. So when we contribute through our engagements with various parties on the public and private side, and that contribution is actually taken into account, and we see that meaningful output, that to me is real success.
Okay, fantastic. Now, thank you so much for sharing your insights, Conway. And that was Conway Williams, Head of Credit at Prescient Investment Management.